All right, gang, after a month-long delay, we're officially dropping Scent Club kit number 13. Finally, it's out. This was supposed to drop last month. Because of the complications with the mystery box, we delayed it for a month. But this is the official kit with 3 different, fragrances in there. And they come in 5 to 6 ml bottles. And the kit is now selling. And I'm going to let you know what's in the kit coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian, talking to you about the latest Scent Club kit. This is Scent Club kit number 13. Those of you that are on the newsletter list, if you've purchased in the past and you accepted, newsletters to be sent to you, marketed to, and if you've signed up for those newsletters, you would have been notified yesterday that the kit was unofficially dropped and you get advance notice for those kits. So you probably already heard about it if you have signed up for those newsletters, but today is the official drop, and this was supposed to launch last month, but as I said, there was a lot of complications with the last mystery box, so we delayed it. Couldn't handle another kit, but it's officially dropped. Scent Club kit number 13 is officially dropped, and I've got 3 amazing fragrances in this kit, and all really highly concentrated. 2 extraited parfums and 1 parfum concentration, and these are smaller brands, lesser known houses that I highly consider you should get your nose on them if you haven't. And one of the fragrances I've been speaking to you guys about for a while. In fact, I discovered the first fragrance, I think when I first smelled a mod of it back in September, October of 2023. And then I smelled the finished product in March of 2024. I knew instantly that it was going to be a hit. And sure enough, turned out to be a great fragrance. The second one is a favorite cherry fragrance of mine. So we have that, but more on the leather side. And then finally, the third fragrance is a floral leather fragrance, which is a very unique leather fragrance. Nothing like Tuscan leather, if you're familiar with that kind of leather. This to me has a bit of more pleather leather combo kind of a smell with the white flowers in there. Really amazing fragrance. But let's get started with the first fragrance in kit number 13. So let me show you the photo here. I'll flash it on screen as well. So the first fragrance is the oldest house in the kit. This house launched in the 1800s. It was, I think, closed up for a bit, and then they resurrected the house and brought it back several years ago. It's d'Orsay, Paris. And a lot of their fragrances do seem to be more airy and ethereal in the original bottles, in the clear bottles. And I fell in love with the house probably going back to 2.5, 3 years ago. Yeah, 2.5, 3 years ago in Italy. I discovered the house at Campo Marzio and instantly loved all the fragrances because it was really hot in the summer of 22, and then stopping and seeing the fragrances, really loved them. But I think this is the fragrance that's going to pretty much put them on the map. It's Tonka HYSTERIA, and this is the first fragrance that's in the kit, created by Jordi Fernandez, and it features notes of mandarin, pink pepper, olibanum, cinnamon, Orris butter, Orris Germanica, Myrrh resinoid, Benzoin resinoid, and Tonka beans. Really wonderful creation. I love Tonka beans in fragrances. And I feel like this can be a great alternative to something like if you're missing Fève Delicieuses or if you're missing Tonka Imperiale. I think you should get this one. I don't consider them identical to those fragrances. Just another really super delicious, spicy, slightly nutty, and also a little bit, you get the cherried nuances and also boozy touches. I wouldn't call this a cherry fragrance. It's more about the Tonka, but Tonka kind of has that opposite experience. So whenever you see cherry in fragrances, you'll notice the Tonka beans come up in the notes breakdown as well. Here, it's about the Tonka beans. It's more on the nutty side, but super, super delicious. If you haven't tried this one, I highly recommend you try it. Again, it's one of my favorite fragrances of last year, 2024. In fact, I featured it at #1 in the niche video, and that's the first fragrance in the kit. It's Tonka HYSTERIA, created by Jordi Fernandez. And extraited parfum concentration, really long-lasting and super delicious. It's leaning gourmand, but super spicy and also smoky. So there's olibanum or frankincense, and then there's also pink pepper and also black peppery touches here as well. It's powdery, but there's gourmand elements when you're wearing it, and then you get those kind of slightly boozy, cherry nuances on skin as well. Some people don't get it as much, so it's more about the tonka. And the tonka beans in fragrances I absolutely love. I think tonka beans are really super delicious. They're used quite a bit, and here it's the star, along with the spices and the smoky touches. So that's Tonka Hysteria, the first fragrance in the latest kit number 13. And let me know if you've gotten your nose on it and what your thoughts are about this fragrance. All right, the second fragrance in the kit happens to be Cherry Punk Extrait de Parfum. So if you're familiar with the original Cherry Punk, I think it could be something like a distant relative of Lost Cherry from Tom Ford. Here, it's even a further distant relative because what they've done here with Cherry Punk Extrait, I have a special little leather casing for this bottle. Let me take it out. But what they've done here is amplified the leather. So it's quite leathery here, and it's even further leathery because the original has leathery touches. In comparison to the Lost Cherry, there's no leather in that fragrance. At least I don't think there is. But with Cherry Punk Extrait, the leather has been amplified a lot. So it's more of a leather fragrance with cherries. And I don't think it's animalic to me, but it's all depending on the person. They might think leather in general is on the animalic side, but I think you have to get your nose on it because I think the cherries kind of smooth over anything that might be animalic in this. But it has cherries, saffron, Sichuan pepper, violets, jasmine, mimosa, patchouli, tonka, and black leather. Again, this is my favorite version between the two because I've kind of been bored of the Lost Cherry-like cherry fragrances, and I love the idea of wearing leather because I love leather fragrances, but this is kind of like glossed over with a fruity cherry touch. Again, the cherries are not overwhelming. I think the leather dominates in this fragrance in comparison to the previous edition, the original Cherry Punk, or anything like Lost Cherry. And if you like the idea of leather, a black leather, and the fruitiness of the cherries and spices and powdery touches, you're going to really enjoy this one. I think this is a great cherry fragrance. And the cherries add a bit of a playfulness to the fragrance, where you've got this kind of very masculine, mature experience with a leather fragrance. And of course, the cherries do add that kind of playful, young kind of energy vibe. So this is the second fragrance in the kit, Cherry Punk Extrait, as you can see the photo here. And a great scent created by Jerome Epinette, of all people. He creates a lot of fragrances for a lot of different houses, mostly Byredo and also Wilhelm Parfumerie. It's all Jerome Epinette. So he's created a really great DNA here. And it's the most popular fragrance from the house, Room 1015. So they've created an Extrait de Parfum. I think the brand has other Extrait de Parfums launching in the future, but I think their next fragrance is called Jasmine Freak. I've got my nose on it. It's quite nice. But let's move on to the third and final fragrance in the kit. So this next fragrance is from the house of BOHOBOCO, and it's Jasmine White Leather, one of the most unique leather fragrances I have ever put my nose on. It's very unique, very indie, not mass appealing. So if you're into the idea of wearing fragrances that are not conventional, I think this is one you should try. If you're into the idea of leather, but balanced out with white flowers, definitely Jasmine White Leather is one that you should put your nose on, because I think it's a super fantastic. It does have a bit of a pleathery, leathery experience, because to me, it doesn't smell anything like Tuscan leather, because this is the fallback leather fragrance that I bring up often, because a lot of leather fragrances do end up hinting at Tuscan leather or even ombre leather, but never hinting at something like Cuir or any of those other earlier leather fragrances. And I'm not saying this smells like Cuir. It smells nothing like that. The leather is so unique in this, and that's why I'm getting a bit of a fabricy, pleathery, leathery vibe against all the white flowers. It's such an original smell, and I think you're going to like. I think it's the most daring in the trio of fragrances, but really a love for me. It smells super fantastic. It has lemons, Italian bergamot, clove buds, jasmine, white flowers, lavender, rose, violets, white leather, cedar, patchouli, tonka beans, ambergris, vanilla, and musk. The brand BOHOBOCO doesn't ever release the names of their perfumers. I don't know why, but I don't know who the perfumer of this is. I think it's one of the most original smells I've put my nose on. I absolutely love this fragrance, and I wanted to highlight it here for you guys to try in this latest ScentClub kit. Let me know if you're familiar with these 3 fragrances. If you've already gotten your nose on these, let me know. And the kit is a really easy to travel with kit. There's 3 different fragrances. It's 5 to 6 ml size here. And it's a perfect, I think, travel kit where you can take it with you on a trip, and you've got 3 different varieties of fragrances to experience. And the fact that these 3 are highly concentrated, 2 extracted parfums with the Tonka Hysteria and the Cherry Punk. And then, of course, BOHOBOCO's Jasmine White Leather is a parfum concentration. But either way, that's the latest kit for you guys. It's ScentClub kit number 13. 3 awesome fragrances. Really amazing fragrances, I should say. I really love. And the first brand on here, I should say, is the oldest, by the way. The originally D'Orsay launched in the 1800s. If you've ever seen that first cover of the New Yorker magazine, there was a dandy on the cover. That is who started the brand. So I'm glad the brand is resurrected. If you ever make it to Paris, go to their store. It has a little bit of a museum section, and you can look at some of their, vintage bottles and things like that. And then I think the youngest brand is BOHOBOCO. I think D'Orsay going back to the 1800s, Room 1015, 10 years ago in 2015. And then I think BOHOBOCO as a brand is 2016. So that's how the fragrances are laid out in the kit. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.